Okay, so I want to tell a story today. And that story is about how one of my aunts and my family do not talk to me because they think that I, at the age of 16, did something with her partner at the time. And I have been a nervous wreck to talk about something like this and to tell this.
It's about the spirit of chaos and confusion attached to the Braxton family values.
The Braxtons are no strangers to drama, on or off screen. Just when it seemed their family secrets couldn't get messier, their niece dropped a bombshell. She revealed that at 16, one of her aunt's partners made inappropriate advances toward her. Instead of addressing the issue or supporting her, the family allegedly swept it under the rug to protect the aunt's man. Worse, she claims she was cast aside and abandoned, leaving her to deal with the trauma alone. The revelation adds another layer.
And when she found this conversation, this sort of conversation, and she showed it to my dad, and my dad called the aunt, and we spoke about it, and we talked about it a little bit. And I remember just a lot of emotions, was a lot going on. I was 16 at the time, and I'm 32 now. I had to think about it. I'm 32 now. And so, oh my God, it's been 16 years. This is wild. Anyway, okay. So yeah, my aunt was there for me. She was very kind and very nice. Was like, I'm so sorry that this happened to you, blah, 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 blah. And not blah, 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 but she was very kind and it just felt like safe, you know? But then as the years had gone by, it's like that mood and that assumption that I didn't do anything because I was a child was not that assumption.
It's no shocker that the Braxton family is at the center of drama once again. The rocky relationships between the sisters and their clan have always been a topic of discussion. This isn't even the first time someone from the family has come forward with claims of inappropriate behavior from within. What really set the internet ablaze, though, was the revelation of which aunt and partner were involved and the extent the Braxtons went to protect them, even at the expense of one of their own. Many now believe Toni Braxton regrets supporting the family's decision to go public with their reality show. Those checks may have been big, but a decade of constant negative press has certainly taken its toll.
A decade.
I am confessing that although I love my family, most of the time I don't like my family. Everyone in our family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friend.
Ashley isn't the daughter of any Braxton sister, but the eldest child of their brother, Michael "Mikey" Braxton Jr., a nurse who occasionally appeared on their show. She wasn't wrong in saying the family struggles with generational trauma. Mikey himself isn't particularly close to his sisters and has kept his distance, focusing on his own life. Unfortunately, Ashley bore the brunt of growing up in such a fractured family dynamic, navigating the fallout of a strained environment that seemed more focused on appearances than addressing deeper issues.
The environment. It just felt like love from my family was just cut off and gone. And you're like, but wait, that guy? And it made it even worse because it was like, wait, this guy that was doing this to you on TV? And like, it's kind of in cohorts in the same spirit of what was happening. Not in the same cohorts in the same spirit, but like, you know? It's so painful.
The aunt Ashley referred to is allegedly Trina Braxton, and the ex-husband in question is Gabe Solis. While Ashley didn't name names, she mentioned being surprised by her treatment, especially since the aunt's husband had treated her poorly on TV. Internet sleuths quickly connected the dots, and Ashley liking a comment naming Gabe and Trina solidified the claims. Initially, the aunt, allegedly Trina, was supportive, assuring Ashley it wasn't her fault, as she was just a child. However, that support vanished when the aunt reportedly accused Ashley of trying to seduce her husband. From there, Ashley was cut off entirely. Gabe's toxic influence seemed to weigh heavily on Trina during their marriage, which might explain her heavy drinking at the time. Trina was so trauma-bonded to Gabe that she was deeply distraught by his death from cancer, a reaction even her current husband, Vaughn, struggled to understand. Given the lengths Trina went to stay married to Gabe despite his behavior, it's sadly plausible she'd protect him even after Ashley's accusations of inappropriate advances.
Like he cheated and he just super duper messed up and was like, you know what? I messed up, but I'm going to do everything that I can to make amends and make my marriage work. And Dr. Sherry, you know, I called you about something recent that happened in Gabe and I's relationship. I feel like we went back a good 25 steps. That is why I do not wear my ring.
You know, I was going to point that out.
And you ask me, why aren't you wearing your ring? Take it, pawn it. I don't want it.
No.
The symbolism is gone. When that ring was put on my finger, what it symbolized no longer applies. So I don't want it. And I don't care how much it's worth, keep it. It means nothing to me.
Gabe, do you understand what that's about?
In the middle of the night, she had a gut feeling that I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing. So I gave her my phone.
And then snatched it from me.
And then then I started thinking, I was like, well, shoot, I'm not checking your phone.
Well, was there anything on that phone that you didn't want her to see?
There were text messages between me and, well,
other women.
yes.
There must have been something in the water over there, because it's wild how much is coming out about the Braxton family. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time Ashley has spoken up about this.
I was born into this family, but, the most interesting thing is, my life was not a reflection. What are you doing? And I just looked at her and I said, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. And I'll never forget her face. She looked at me like, okay, so you're leaving? You just got here.
Yeah.
And there was that look of like, babe, I'm so sorry, but I've got to go.
Yeah. Have you spoken with her subsequently about what was going through her mind at that point in time?
No, it's interesting. She passed away 3 years ago.
Oh,
So there's so many, I know. There was so many things that I never got to ask her.
yeah.
I did get to in a dream. I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
But that was really devastating for me when she passed away because the person who had also gone through what I had gone through was gone. So obviously me speaking, people are like, is this a made up story? I didn't have that person.
Yeah.
Didn't have that connection anymore of someone who truly understood me. And of course, I left you in a sort of semi-difficult situation. And then also growing up, there was, I guess, when you're touched inappropriately as a child and then it sort of manifests and then you start doing it. So then there was a lot of guilt there because I had sexually touched her.
Right.
And so for me, the reason why she passed away was because of drugs. And so for me, all of those reasons was because of me, and that's why she's not here.
This TikTok really made some waves, but she's done other interviews in the past about how traumatic her childhood was.
I really had to take the time and go back to that part of my life and understand how much feeling of like I didn't matter, that I was unworthy. It just felt like love from my family was just cut off and gone.
Ashley was really going through it because she was dealing with her trauma alone. And like they say, hurt people hurt people. So she started acting out and passed the trauma forward to her sister. And when her sister passed, it really felt to Ashley that she had no one left in her corner. Her aunties didn't want anything to do with her, and Mikey didn't do such a great job of sticking up for his daughters. Ashley's mother also gave up custody of her and her sister when they were very young. So she's had these unworthy of love feelings, which also caused her to believe that she didn't matter to her family.
In the sense of there's
hate screaming from your heart. You know what I mean? It turns into pure hatred and rage. So before, maybe things were to happen and I couldn't retaliate, so I internalized it, but an emotional way as a kid would. Yeah. Where when I got older, I mean, it turned to real hate.
What happened to Ashley also happened to Tamar, because she talked about being touched by a family member as well when she was young. Tracy did say the same thing, but just like Tamar, she didn't say anything about the person that did it to her. But the point is that this isn't just an isolated situation in this family. And it also sounds like no one did anything to support and protect the sisters either.
My childhood that I was like too afraid to talk about or too ashamed to talk about. But the truth of the matter is that, I have been molested, by both sides of my family. And it's not nothing I ever talked about.
Ashley has dropped multiple videos talking about this and was also asking that people not bash her family for the things she said, because she just wanted to tell her story and move on.
Hey guys, okay, I appreciate the love, the support. I think it's an important topic to talk about. But the whole point of me speaking about the situation was not to ostracize somebody. It was to actually shed light upon this sort of situation. And there's so many women and men and people in the world who have to be silenced. And the point was to voice what happened to me. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. There is other sides of the stories. I don't believe that I need to come out with a bang and with guns blazing. And it's not who I am. It's not actually my character. And it's not what I was intending to.
And while Ashley doesn't owe anyone anything when it comes to her experience, folks are saying that it would have been nice if she had at least made it a bit clear who the person she was talking about was. I mean, people were ready to tear Tamar a new one when the first video dropped, because she's always been seen as the most problematic one of the sisters. And we definitely know more about the toxic men in her life. And there was this one time that Tamar made a series of rants on Twitter saying, quote, "My family is toxic. I should have never went back to Braxton family values. Never." Y'all have no idea. None. The gaslighting is crazy. OMG, I just pray my marriage can be saved and my life can be spared. My family is awful, end quote. But it wasn't until she liked the comment that most people knew that she was talking about Trina and Gabe. But by then, folks have been coming for any and every member of the Braxton family for abandoning their niece when she was at her most vulnerable state.
Look, I'm no psychologist, but Evelyn Braxton is absolutely the root cause of her family's generational trauma, okay? She's not the sole cause. Michael Braxton Sr. got some issues too, but she is the fish rots from the head. I was once told that millennials have the luxury of depression, and I know that's going to sound really jarring, but if you sit with it, it's very true. Because being depressed means that you can sit in your emotions, and if you are in survival mode, you can't stop to sit in anything. Evelyn Braxton has been in survival mode most of her life. I don't know what that woman went through. She's never spoken about it, but the way she bottles things and the way she copes, she has spewed that toxic coping all over her family. Because I'm trying to think, how would Michael Braxton Jr., how does a father allow his daughter to experience that, right? Like what? Then again, Michael Braxton Sr. abandoned his daughters for some tail too. So, it truly is generational.
Someone even asked her if her grandmother, at the very least, had her back through all of this. And Ashley replied, And baby, the silence was loud and clear. But even though the Braxtons haven't said anything to confirm or deny the things that Ashley said, folks still believe her and are encouraging her for speaking out after so long. Quote, "I believe it. You heard what Toni said. If they wasn't her family, she would have absolutely nothing to do with them, period." End quote. Quote, "How can you place blame on a child for underage predator behavior and stop speaking to them?" Quote, "It's weird that the aunt didn't leave her husband and place blame on the child. That's crazy." End quote. But seriously, y'all, what do you think about Ashley's story and the whole Braxton family drama? Do you think that she should be direct and name that aunt? Or is it better left unsaid? Sound off in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, because there's more coming down the pipeline. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, baddies.